Tatis, he's going to lead Sports Center. He's done it again. Another home run.
Welcome back to the JC2 podcast. I'm Blake Frazier alongside my co-host Dylan Smith. Episode number 27. Dylan, you're an Angels fan. A bomb got dropped on us about a week ago today. The Angels came out and DFA'd legendary first base / DH Albert Pujols. What was your reaction when you heard that as an Angels fan that's kind of watched in the last decade? And what was your emotions when you saw that?
I mean, it kind of sucked they didn't finish, you know, but at the end of the day, he wasn't really producing, and he really, he never really produced that much or that often during that contract at all, especially in the last 5 years. I don't know how you can expect a 42-year-old to actually produce. It is what it is. I hope that he goes to the Cardinals for a weekend series, kind of what Ichiro did in Japan.
Yeah.
Go back where you started, get the standing O, play a couple games, and right into the sunset. I think that's the best course of action. Obviously, there were some reports saying that it ended ugly. And then there was the Angels said it didn't, and we've yet to hear from Albert. So,
right.
I think that Albert Pujols probably feels that he could be a starting first baseman every day, and you have somebody, Jared Walsh, who has the most RBI since last September, and you have Shohei Ohtani, who's doing his thing right now. And unfortunately, the at-bats need to go to them, and I'm sure, he probably didn't want to be in that role of just a bench guy because he wants to hit that 700th homer. And you can't hit 700 homers if you're not getting the ABs to do so.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the point I was going to make, that the emergence of Jared Walsh has completely just pushed Albert right out of the lineup. And if you're the Angels, obviously you got to put the best lineup on the field that gives you the best chance to win. Right now, that's Jared Walsh at first base, and it's Ohtani at DH. So Albert, I'm sure that he's got a lot of pride and he wants to finish the way that he wants. Obviously, this probably isn't the way that I would expected Albert to leave. I didn't expect him to get DFA'd, but I mean, what this guy did in a Cardinals uniform, like you said, one of the best players in baseball, 9 All-Star games, 3 MVPs, batted .328. He goes to the Angels in 10 years, batted .256, 222 home runs, 783 RBI. His OPS, that's like the thing that I looked at. His OPS in a Cardinal uniform was 1037. His OPS in the Angels uniform, 757. Like a complete drop-off. But it's just a contract that didn't work out. Maybe it probably made sense at the time that the Angels signed that contract, like you said, but it just didn't work out for him.
Well, yeah, it did make sense just because at the time, Vlad Guerrero, the Angels opted not to re-sign him. You had Torrey Hunter on the team, and they felt that by adding Albert, who was the best player in baseball, coming off a World Series victory with the Cardinals.
MVP too, yeah.
Yeah. So, at the time it made sense. Why? Because, you're expecting Albert Pujols to hit 700 homers. And, at the time you're potentially thinking Albert Pujols has a chance to surpass Barry Bonds for, the all-time home run lead. Obviously that did not happen because of injuries. I believe he had 3 foot surgeries during his, career with the Angels. But, at the end of the day, he did hit his 600th homer and 500th homer with the Angels uniform on. He hit the 3,000th hit with the Angels uniform on.
And his 2,000th RBI too.
Yeah, all with the Angels uniform.
Yep.
And the Angels get to cash in on that. They get to make the merch.
Yep.
They get to sell it to the public and make money off that. Plus, at the time, by signing Albert. They got a massive deal with Fox for a TV deal. So as far as getting that money back, I believe they got it. They got their money's worth on the business side of things. Obviously, on the play side of things, they did not. But from the business side of things, they got every penny worth. I would say from this contract, and that's why now I feel like part of the decision was, well, he's probably not going to break any more milestones. And it sucks to think about it that way, but the Angels got what they needed out of him. So, I hate to be harsh and be like, they kicked him to the curb. But that's one way to look at it. And I'm sure there are some angry Angels fans that feel that way. But I also feel like there's another side of things where Albert also just wanted to play every day, and the Angels couldn't give that to him.
So Albert Pujols is 33 homers away from 700. He's 5th all-time on the home run list, 29 behind A-Rod for 4th all-time. The question I have for you, and then we'll hop into the Mets here, does Albert Pujols sign with another team? Does a team take a chance on Albert, maybe a team that needs some veteran leadership in that clubhouse, DH spot, maybe like a team like the Baltimore Orioles to come in and help their youth? Do you see a team take a chance on him?
I want to say yes, because we've seen, the Jim Thomes of the world, and the even, like Jason Giambi was playing when he was like 43 for like the Rockies, I want to say yes, but I think we're in a new era of baseball where it's kind of like, we got to see these young guys grow, and we're not going to take at-bats away from our young guys. So to me, the answer is no. And Albert says he wants to continue playing. He wasn't even saying that this is – I think the 700th homer is huge to him. Hitting that 700 is really big to him, and that's at least from media. That's what they've said. It's really big to him. I just don't see – you have to go to either Colorado, who's obviously tanking and going to go into a rebuild, so maybe there's opportunity there. Maybe he has to go to a hitter-friendly ballpark. I mean, somebody that a team that came up that's a contender that would have been interesting if Luke Voit was out for the whole year would be the Yankees, just because it's a small ballpark, and I mean they were already giving ABs to Jay Bruce, So
what about the Blue Jays? They have Telez over there that's struggling at DH. Could that?
I don't believe so. Just because once Springer's back, you got to move Gurriel, Teoscar into that DH.
True. That's true.
And it's not like you're going to play 42-year-old Albert Pujols at first base over Vlad.
Right.
So yeah, I can't see a team. Like I said, if I was Albert, I would have to make peace that I'm not going to hit that 700th homer. Yeah. Go back to the Cardinals, put on the uniform, go be with my brothers, Adam Wainwright and Yachty over there. Get the standing O, and ride into the sunset. That's what I think. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear from an Angels fan's perspective on this, because I mean, there's obviously some angry Angels fans, like you mentioned, the way that he got kicked to the curb. But it'll be interesting to see if Albert does land on his feet elsewhere. Let's talk about the New York Mets. They are on a roll right now. They moved into first in the NL East. They're 18-13. They've won 7 in a row. Lindor's getting booed. Now he's on a little hot streak right now. DeGrom just got landed on the IL. You had the Lindor McNeil rat in the dugout. The story that got made up. There's a lot going on in the Queen Cities. What do you think of the Mets roll they're on right now?
I mean, it's definitely a good step in, right step in the right direction. Because this team has high expectations, especially with how much they spent during the offseason and the new ownership, basically putting out there like, hey, the Mets aren't going to Met anymore. We're going to, we're going to be a completely new organization. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. I will see every team's going to have their woes. Every team's going to have their hot streaks. The thing with baseball is, with health, usually things work out and things are what they're supposed to be when on the last day of the season. But DeGrom going to the IL is going to be huge. This is going to be something to watch. Luckily, Stroman's been pitching pretty well for them.
Yeah. So is Taiwan Walker too. He's pitched really well for them.
Yeah. And Syndergaard should be back soon, and Carlos Carrasco still hasn't even made his debut. So they have some depth there. They just got to get him right, and they got to weather the storm. This is going to be a storm they have to weather now, and it's good to see Lindor getting hot because you just signed him to $300 million and
10-year deal, yeah.
Yeah, and another 10-year deal going off that Albert deal we were just talking about. Obviously, Lindor's a lot younger when signed, but it'll be interesting how many more massive deals we see within the MLB in the next 5 years, I'd say.
So let's go back to Albert here for a second. Do you think teams are going to look at that contract and be like, yeah, we can't be giving people 32 years old 10-year deal? Like, do you think that's going to be an example for a lot of GMs?
No, I think that's the last one you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can justify doing so again. Mm-hmm. Trout's already signed until he's 39. That'd be like the only one that I can think of.
Yeah.
That would have made sense just because the milestones. Again, you got to look at the name. You got to look at the milestones that you're gonna. Those players are gonna break in your uniform. Mm-hmm. And I can't really think of. I mean, Bryce is locked up.
Tatis he's young.
He just got locked up.
Bryce signed a 13-year deal, right?
I think the max would be 8-year deal. I think 40 is like the top.
Do you think in the new CBA they're going to put a term on the max years you can give? I know in the NHL it used to be unlimited. You saw like the 12-year deal, 15-year deal. And the NHL actually said, okay, if you drafted this player, you can give him an 8-year extension, but if you sign him in a UFA, the most you can go is 7. Do you think the MLB will go down a road like that?
Absolutely not. Because the thing is, the players don't want that. Because the players want the max value of their contract, and they want to front load it. Right. That's like the new trend. Like, look at Bauer.
Right.
He's going to get 45, and then like 18 or 20 on the last year, and he could just opt out of that. He already got paid.
Another big deal. Right.
Exactly. So, I don't think the players would go for that. And also another thing in the NHLs, there's a cap. There's no cap in baseball.
Yep.
So, I don't think the players will go for it.
Okay.
I don't even think that the ownership would want to do that either. Okay. But what I do think will happen is that service time will go down. I don't think it'll be 6 years. I think it'll be 4 years now.
4 years, right? Okay. Going back to DeGrom here quickly. It's a lat/oblique injury. That's a tough injury to kind of work around. Would like if you're a Mets fan, are you concerned with this? Like, is
yes,
this
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best pitcher in probably the world, and he's on the IL, and your team's supposed to be competing for World Series.
Right.
I mean, I think you'd be crazy to not be concerned. But we'll see. I mean, luckily they built a pretty good rotation in there, like I mentioned earlier, and they might be able to keep the team afloat while DeGrom gets right. But these obliques can be tricky. They could take a while.
The slumping Dodgers, they have won 2 in a row, but man, after beginning the season 15-1, they've lost 16 of the last 22 games. Like this team's lost 5 straight series, and to me, in my opinion, they haven't really been the same since that Sunday Night Baseball blown game to the Padres. It's like this team just has been out of sorts.
Yeah, another big thing with the Dodgers is the injuries. I mean, obviously, they're missing. Bellinger has not been playing. I believe Price is hurt out of the pen. Graterol is hurt out of the pen. Dustin May goes out with Tommy John for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So they're getting hit hard with the injury bug, as is a lot of teams in the league. We can go team to team and be like, wow, they're missing this player, they're missing that player. Our teams the Angels are missing Rendon, and the Jays are missing Springer.
Yep.
Every team, it feels like, that's kind of struggling. I know the Jays have been doing okay lately, but most of the struggling teams obviously are missing one of those premier players. Even you look at the Braves, they're missing Soroka, who's supposed to be their ace.
Right.
So I think this is more of an injury issue, but it is definitely interesting just because people felt that not losing Kike Hernandez, Jock Peterson would do any, wouldn't do anything to this roster.
Yeah, and
But
you said
obviously
that was
is.
huge. You said that those are glue guys in that lineup. Like those are your depth guys. When you get injuries, you just slot those guys in. And right now they don't have those reinforcements. So,
and another depth guy that they had, Edwin Rios, who kind of showed some pop last year. He just got he's out for the season that came out yesterday.
Really?
So yeah, so they're dropping like flies and the Dodgers clubhouse right now. But like you were saying, they've lost a lot of games. Do I think this is going to continue? No.
Yeah.
They're a good team. They have the best rotation in baseball, even without Dustin May. And they seem like they're getting back on track right now. So they're playing in Seattle, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So Kalenic gets to make his debut against Seattle tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's right. Fernando Tatis tests positive for COVID-19. I think the protocol is you have to do a 14-day quarantine if you do test positive. So that's a tough blow for the Padres.
Yeah. It feels like this guy's just been on the IL all year so far.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Rendon, just like Springer, like we were just talking about, Soroka.
Yep.
So, this is another hit in the chest for the Padres, but, they've been playing decent ball, I would say that they're kind of been in the middle lately, too.
Their head is just floating above water right now, kind of just hanging out in the middle there.
And it sucks for them because they can get hot. I mean, they could have pulled away.
Right.
But yeah, Tatis back on the IL. Luckily, it is.
It's not an injury thing.
COVID. Yeah,
right.
It's just let's get through COVID and we're back. And maybe this gives him a little time to rest that arm of his that he's probably been playing through some pain. If I had to guess. So, I mean, it does suck, like you said. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Right. Let's talk about the Oakland A's situation here. Interesting development that came out earlier this week. The Oakland A's are looking to potentially relocate if they don't get a brand new stadium in Oakland. And the front runners right now is Vegas and Nashville, supposedly. But man, what a tough look for Oakland, man. They lost the Raiders to Vegas. The Warriors went across to San Francisco. Now the Oakland A's might be out the door next. So what is your thoughts on this whole situation? I know you've been loud and clear that you wanted a team to go to Nashville. You thought that would be a good spot. But what do you think of a potential team in Vegas?
Love it. I mean, when I think if the A's go to Vegas, you're going from a small market to a big market. They're going to be. And the way they develop talent and their grittiness, I mean, who knows? They lose some of that with the move to Vegas. You never know. But hey, this might be the right move. I know there's some people. I'm sure there's some diehard Oakland fans that don't want them to move, but I think if they move to Vegas, they might be one of the most dominant teams in the MLB for multiple years. Because you gotta think about the hotels are gonna buy the season tickets.
Yeah,
they're gonna have endorsement deals, and they have a brand new stadium there. It's not on the Strip though, so that was something I was looking. So their AAA team plays in Vegas right now, and you'd have to add some seating.
The beautiful stadium down there, nice little setup down there.
But you gotta think like. I mean, I'm an Angels fan. I would go to Vegas. It's only 3 hours away from me. I'm going to go to Vegas for the weekend, go do my thing in Vegas, have some fun, and go see the Angels play the A's.
Yeah.
Plus, you're going to see, Dodgers when they play the West. The Dodger fans will go out there. It'll be like – it's going to be a lot of teams or a lot of fans of teams. They're like, let's go to Vegas to go watch the game.
Right.
You're going to draw more let's say they play the Tigers. There might be people from Detroit. They're like, let's go to Vegas for the weekend and watch the Tigers and the A's.
It seems like Vegas is like overnight become like a sports powerhouse. I mean, a few years ago, you got the Knights from the NHL just moved there. I mean, then the Raiders relocated to Vegas, and now potentially an Oakland A's team going there. Like, did you ever think that like 5 years ago? Would you think that there's going to be 3 pro teams potentially in Las Vegas? Like, that's crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought it, but I mean, another thing that you have to take into account too is aside from the major sports, they also have UFC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and UFC during COVID, they would have a fight there like every week.
It's massive. Yeah.
Yeah. So Vegas knows. I think it's really funny just because that's like the main sports betting place. So I feel like a lot of people can get in trouble there. And then you have to have the right players also to not get in trouble in Vegas.
Right.
I mean, for those of you that have never been there, it's a party scene. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
It's called the Sin City for a reason.
Yep.
So I think it would be a great move especially for the MLB.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think so too.
To have a team. I mean, Nashville, like I was telling you off there, Nashville, I think will get a team, but that Nashville team will be an NL team. Like it would be an expansion.
So that doesn't mess up the divisions.
Yeah, because you can't move the A's to Nashville and have them in the West.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So because you already got Texas and Houston that's in the West.
Right.
And I mean that's not even really West. It's really not. So you would have to put the A's in Vegas. I think that makes most sense. And I think that the fans would rally around them because they're, you're going to have the Oakland Raiders fans who most of them are probably Oakland A's fans.
Mm-hmm.
And, they might go for some Raiders. They might go for some A's. And it's going to make them MLB a lot of money.
So let me just ask you another question here. Let's play a little game here. If the MLB was to like relocate or expand, like where would you think the MLB would look for do you think a Portland could get a team? Do you think they go Montreal? Do you think they go like a Nashville, Charlotte, maybe anything like that?
So I think that one of the Carolinas would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That's I mean, down there's a really big baseball culture. So I could see one of the Carolinas getting one. Before COVID, I would say maybe Montreal again, or even maybe Vancouver. Mm-hmm. But because of COVID now, I don't think they're even going to touch that with the 10-foot pole.
It's such a joke, dude. Like they're not even. The border's been closed for 15 months. Like it's hurting. It's hurting the hockey teams up here. That's for sure. I mean,
yeah. So I don't think that the MLB would want to relocate to a Canadian province in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in 10 years.
Right.
But I think that expansion is more likely in the next 5. I really do, because I think what's going to happen is they're going to do expanded playoffs. This is just all speculation.
Yep.
That they would expand to 32 teams
and have 16
and 16, and it would be more of top 8 make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like basketball.
So like, so top 8 in each like league.
Yeah, or even like a wild card series like they did before.
Right.
Where maybe the top 2 seeds play. There's more wild card spots. There'd be 2 wild card series rather than 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're seeing a lot more teams make the playoffs. But there's a lot of things, the money-wise, that you would have to go through with this, because players are going to be like, if we expand the playoffs, that means that teams aren't going to be as likely to spend because there's less playoff spots, or there's more playoff spots they don't feel like they need. There's a lot of things that go into it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long run, I'm sure the CBA is going to clear up a lot of those issues. And then after the CBA is locked in, then I think we could see them expanding.
Okay, let's move on to Madison Bumgarner. His first 3 starts this year in Arizona were god-awful. 5 earned runs a game for him. The last 5 starts, though, 30 innings pitched, 34 Ks, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and, of course, he had that unofficial 7-inning no-hitter against Atlanta on April 25th. This guy seems to be kind of resurrecting his career the last 5 starts.
Well, if you're a Diamondbacks front office person right now, you are begging this guy to continue doing what he's doing because they are going to flip his contract if they can.
Yep.
They did it with Greinke.
Yep.
Okay. I don't see Mad Bum finishing it out with the Diamondbacks. The contract did not make any sense from the beginning.
Right.
So you're praying that this guy gets, that you can move this guy. I think it was 4 years, 80, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. So we're in year 2. So you give up that last 2 years and you get some. I think that was the whole point of the deal, to be honest with you.
Just
I think
for him to pitch a couple good years and flip him.
Yeah, I think that was the whole mindset of the Diamondbacks was, hey, we're not going to be a World Series contender. Let's get this guy, this vet that has postseason experience, and let's flip him at the deadline. And the perfect team, the Yankees, might want to do it. You know?
Yeah,
maybe your Jays.
Yeah, maybe the Jays could definitely use a starter like Madison Bumgarner. Let's talk about the year of the no-hitter. Like, what is going on right now in the MLB with no-hitters is insane. There's been 4 no-hitters, and we're not even 2 months into this season. The most that there's been in a season in MLB history is 5, I believe, and we're already at 4. It started with Musgrove. He threw the first no-hitter in Padres history. Then it was Rondon, who was a hit batter away from a perfect game. Then it was John Means and Wade Miley. 3 lefties too. Does that surprise you that 3 lefties got it done?
Not really, just because the game is pull the ball over the fence.
Yep.
So when you have those lefties commanding the outside corner and tossing the changeups on the outside and getting these guys roll over, it's not that surprising. So, most of the teams they're given. Well, the Cleveland Indians have been no hit twice.
Yeah.
Musgroves was against Texas.
Yep.
And
Rondon or Miley or
Means was against Seattle.
Seattle, yeah. So 3 not very good teams, but
yeah. So, I mean, Seattle and Cleveland does have a winning record right now, but
right.
On paper, that's not a lineup that you fear. Right. And Seattle just tends to get no hit in the past 5 years. It feels like every year.
They've got, I think it's 3 times in the last 5 years. Like it's something crazy like that.
No. It's let's see. They got no hit twice 2 years ago. The Angels did a combined no hitter on
Skaggs.
That's right.
That's right.
They got no hit by somebody else, and then I think they also threw a no hitter Paxton against the Jays.
Yeah. You just had to throw that in there,
hey. Yeah.
But are you surprised with like how many no hitters there's been already? Like that's kind of crazy.
I mean, it is definitely surprising, but there's also that MLB has came out and said we changed the ball, and there's been some. I've been to quite a few games already. I'd say I've been to about 5 games already this season.
Yeah.
And there are balls that get hit to the track that 2 years ago, last year, those balls were 30 feet
30
deep.
rows deep. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting. Personally, I think they should have kept the ball.
Should he just keep the ball juiced?
Yeah, I think they should just keep the ball juiced. I mean, everybody wants to see the homer.
Right.
Everybody wants to see the.
That's what you go to the ballpark for, is see that dramatic homer.
Yeah, I don't like that swing and miss.
Right.
I hate the swing and miss in the game right now. But
obviously,
we need a healthy balance. We need a healthy balance.
Right.
Where even though the ball is juiced, we could still piece balls and they'll fly over the fence. Not
100%.
I'm just swinging up and lofting the ball every time.
Right, 100%.
It's in golf.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You got anything for the final
out? Just Luke Voigt. He's back in the Yanks lineup. Yankees have been winning some games. Like I said, I think it was last week or the week before.
Yep.
We knew this was going to happen.
Yep.
They were going to get back on track eventually. And this is going to be a big name to add back in that lineup. They're dealing with some COVID issues right now, so I'm sure it'll be good to have Voigt back in there to kind of even that out.
Yep.
And hopefully for the Yankees fans' sakes, this is going to allow Stanton and Judge to have a little bit more protection and get some better pitches to hit.
Yeah, Stanton's been on quite a little roll here too lately. He's kind of living up to that hype, or that's the reason why the Yankees traded for him. My final out is the Mariners called up two of their top prospects. Jared Kelenic, number 4 prospect in baseball, outfielder for Seattle. And Logan Gilbert's going to make his MLB debut on the hill, the lefty for the Mariners. So it'll be interesting to see how those two fared tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. I'll see some of it. I got some stuff to do. But yeah, I mean, Kelenic this guy is supposedly really fiery. Obviously, him and the Mariners have a little bit of weird relationship going on since this offseason when that guy came out and said for service time, manipulating this guy.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something to watch. I saw an interesting stat that the Mariners are going to be the only team to have their first pick from the 17, 18, and 19 drafts on their roster.
Right.
So that was just interesting. Kyle Lewis, Kelenic, and Logan Gilbert will all be on the roster.
And it's interesting to keep an eye on. Other than 6 games this year in AAA, Kelenic has never played above A ball. So that's quite the jump. Didn't even play any AA, which would you say that AA is probably the most beneficial in terms of your development curve?
Yeah, AA is where all the future All-Stars are.
Okay.
AA is the most competitive. Obviously, AAA, you get some vets that are just trying to hang around.
Right.
So the roster is kind of a mixture between young kids and vets. AAA is more of I would say like a purgatory for young players and vets. It's kind of like a how do I explain? You're just stuck there.
Yeah.
You're either
on your way to the major.
You're
either at the majors or you're in AAA, right?
Yeah, or it's like for the vets, either you're in AAA or you're at home.
Right.
Gotcha. And for the young guys, it's like, man, I'm sure most of them are thinking this. I can ball out more than the guy that's on the MLB roster right now.
Right.
I'm not trying to throw shade, but John Jay is on the Angels roster right now. You think Joe Adele is like, I could ball out more than John Jay?
Right.
I mean,
let's be. He's probably right. He's probably right.
Yeah. So it's a purgatory. AA is definitely where you're gonna see the best arms, the best young talent. But other than that, I mean, it's gonna be fun. We'll see what this Kelenic kid can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, to take into account, last year was a COVID year. And
right. 100%. That'll do it for episode 27. This will be on YouTube tomorrow late morning, early afternoon. So you guys can check it out. It'll be on iTunes and Spotify. If you guys could subscribe to that, that would greatly be appreciated. Thank you guys for listening.
Yep. Take care, guys.